An appeal to hypocrisy is a type of ad hominem where you reject someone's conclusion or someone's argument because that person is somehow being inconsistent or hypocritical. The Latin term for this is the tu quoque fallacy, which means something like you too or you also. Here's a typical setup. Jason, you spent an hour last week lecturing me on the evils of eating factory farmed meat products, but I saw you buying a McDonald's hamburger yesterday. Now, this isn't a fallacy yet. It's not even an argument. You get the fallacy when you conclude something like this. Why should I take your argument seriously, since you're obviously a hypocrite? This is a fallacy if the suggestion is that Jason's arguments against meat eating are bad or that his conclusions are false, simply because Jason himself is a hypocrite. Now, why is this a fallacy? Well, because whether Jason's arguments are good or bad is independent of his own beliefs or behavior. The charge of hypocrisy might be justified, but that alone won't change a true premise into a false premise, or a valid argument into an invalid argument. To think otherwise is to mistake the person for the argument. Here's a schematic version of the fallacy. A person X gives an argument A for conclusion C. We discover that X, the person giving the argument, doesn't actually believe the conclusion, or maybe acts in ways that are inconsistent with the conclusion, like buying and eating a hamburger at McDonald's after arguing that eating factory-farmed animal products is wrong. Then we infer from this that the argument is bad and should be rejected, or that the conclusion is false and should be rejected. So we're moving from claims about the person making the argument to claims about the argument itself. From an argument analysis standpoint, as given, this argument form is bad because the logic is weak. The conclusion simply doesn't follow from those premises. Now, to fix the logic, you could always add a premise like this. This is a conditional claim that ties together the premises and the conclusion. If I don't believe my own conclusion, or act in ways that are inconsistent with my conclusion, then my arguments for this conclusion are probably bad, or my conclusion is probably false. But now, the problem with the argument is with this additional premise. We just don't have any reason to think it's true. Facts about me and my beliefs are irrelevant to whether my argument is good or bad. If I say that eating factory-farmed animals is bad because, say, factory farming methods cause unnecessary suffering to animals, and it's wrong to inflict unnecessary suffering on animals, then what makes these claims true, if they are true, isn't anything to do with me. What makes them true is facts about factory farming methods, or facts about the moral status of animals and their suffering. I could be a closet sadist and enjoy torturing animals in private, but that has no bearing on the truth or falsity of the claims being made in the argument. But this is just to repeat what we've been saying about ad hominem arguments all along, that they're based on a false belief that facts about a person are relevant to assessing facts about arguments. On the other hand, like with our other previous examples, there are cases where charges of hypocrisy are relevant. They're relevant when the issue at hand is either about someone's character or about the consistency of the views they hold. So in the case of Jason, the moralizing anti-factory farming guy who secretly enjoys the occasional McDonald's hamburger, his behavior would be relevant if the issue is, say, whether Jason has integrity or is a good public spokesperson for the animal rights movement, but it's not relevant if the issue is whether factory farming is good or bad.